decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. The tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life, you know you can't pretend. The days pass by, baby, set in stone. But it's not too late now for you to change your tone. Don't speak, don't speak. Open your soul, don't harden your heart. Don't speak, don't speak. Open your soul, don't harden your heart. Don't bask in a light that's not yours. We're not fighting a fictitious war. Don't boast about all the things that you've done, because in your hand you hold the gun. Your voice isn't gone, it's not been stripped away, but a broken record might as well not play. Don't speak, don't speak. Open your soul, don't harden your heart.
Hey everyone, today is Friday. It is January 10th, 2025, and today is the Friday Night Live. Sorry for coming in late, but today's been a very crazy day. We've had a lot going on. So there's a lot happening, and I want to make sure to thank you all for continuing to do the newsletter Action Network campaign that we've been doing for city council members. And I told you we were going to add more to it, and we absolutely are. I just need another day to do that and get the rest of those emails in, because we are going to start that pressure campaign. So thank you to everyone that came out today. Thank you, Audia. It was great to see you, although we were freezing our tushies off. But we assembled today outside 250 Broadway. Thank you to John Mudd and all the organizations that came out to join us. And it was a really, really great day. So John had coordinated a meeting with Councilman Eric Botcher today. The meeting included 10 representatives, including me from our organization, and representatives from other organizations that are supporting what we're doing in protecting retirees, protecting the federal public health benefit of Medicare. So we did go into Eric's meeting, and he asked some very good questions. I'll give him credit for that. First, I do want to say this is being live streamed into our Facebook page of 30,000 people, into our YouTube channel, and into Twitter or X, live streamed right now as we're speaking. So I want to give these updates knowing that that is our audience, and then we can always have our private chats later. But I want to make it clear. We have been asking for council members to protect traditional Medicare, a federal public health benefit, and to protect health benefits that were given to us, New York City municipal retirees, now for almost 4 years. This is the third draft of a bill that we have put in. The first one basically got canned, blocked in city council ledge, and wasn't allowed to be introduced. And then Councilman Barron came to our rescue by introducing a very stripped down bill of just 2 sentences, and still the city council couldn't pass that. Then we decided to bring the full version of the bill back. And actually, that was even on recommendation by Councilman Brannan, Justin Brannan, who sat in a meeting with me in Brooklyn at their invitation, me and him and Jonathan Yedin, and said I should bring the full version back. So we did. And we said, you know what? We should. Let's bring it back. And then we were fortunate enough to have Councilman Chris Marte and Councilman Bob Holden introduced that legislation in October. We have, as of today, as of this morning, we had 7 council persons on that bill. Coleman Yeager had dropped off because he went up to the assembly, leaving that seat vacant, and so his vote dropped off. We did get Joanne Ariola that jumped onto the bill, so that brought us back up to 7. Today, we went to go and see Eric Botcher at a meeting that was coordinated by John Mudd. We were very thankful that he did that. And 10 of us sat in that meeting for over an hour, and we had a very good conversation. However, we were extremely disappointed because at the end of that meeting, he still could not commit to supporting retirees or our healthcare. And we had 2 asks in that meeting. One, we wanted him to sign on to 1096, and we also wanted him to sign on to an amicus into our case. And he had the choice. He could sign on to an amicus that had already is being drafted at the moment by the Common Sense Caucus, which is mostly Republicans, but a couple of Democrats, or he could do his own with the Democratic Party or with the Democratic Caucus or with the Progressive Caucus or with an ad hoc group of council members that wanted to support us. We've heard lies that the bill is illegal. We showed him that it's not. We heard lies that the unions were saying that, or Municipal Labor Committee was saying that the bill violated collective bargaining and the tenets of collective bargaining. We went through those points and showed him that by every single union contract, Article 1 actually says who the union supports, what the definition is of employer, what the definition is of employee, and who that union represents. And it's not a retiree. And we showed him those definitions. We showed him the definition of Administrative Code 12-303, which actually says who is protected under New York City collective bargaining law, not a retiree. The other arguments he went through, each one of them, again, very pointed. We explained them to him. We showed him. We even gave him the video of Alan Klinger, the lawyer for the MLC, UFT, sanitation, CWA, all of these unions. We let him hear, and his staff, that Alan Klinger even said the bill by itself is not illegal. It just, if the city had to pay for those retirees, it would be less than that they would give for them. So at the end of that meeting, we had those 2 asks, and still Eric would not commit to protecting retirees. So what we said was, well, we're going downstairs and we're going to tell the press that you're not supporting us. And so they left, and so did we. When we went downstairs, we held a rally and a press conference, and we had some really great guests, and the press was there to speak with us. They wanted to know what happened upstairs. We told them, held a rally. It got very exciting. There were a lot of people there, including a couple of people that were running for office were with us too. So one of them you're going to meet tonight, because I did tell you that we were going to endorse Adafi Akporo, who's running for District 7 against Sean Abreu, who is the council member who is not supporting us, never signed on to our legislation, and told us we should go compromise and go collectively bargain, not understanding that as he is an attorney, you can't do that as a retiree. We made our deals. The city should be honoring them. And that's what we're looking to find in a council person that has the courage to stand up to do the right thing. So you're going to hear from him too. Today, we're doing a little fundraiser, Grassroots, and when I introduce Adafi Akporo to you, I'm also going to you'll see the banner running at the bottom of the screen. It's going to show you how to get onto their website. I'll also put that in the chat so that you know where to go in order to Grassroots donate to them. Remember, if you're a New York City employee or retiree, New York City resident, you live in the 5 boroughs, the January 12th ends the campaign matching of 8 times. And I think Adafi's campaign ends tomorrow, but he'll update you on that, or ends today. But Adafi will give you those details. He'll tell you who he is and what he stands for, and that he does agree to protect you. So, William, you're asking about what the good questions were that the councilman had. He actually went through one of the MLC letters and he was asking about, is the bill illegal? Why does the union say it's illegal? Why does they say it would violate collective bargaining? Those were some of the questions. And those are good questions because that's all of the rhetoric that they're hearing from both the speaker and the MLC. And it was important to explain that. He was still under the impression that unions represent retirees. We're not in their unions. And we had to show that to him as well. We don't vote on their contracts. And even though the UFT was telling him that that retirees are in the union, they're not. They may be considered in the union, but they're not. They don't pay a dues to the union. They pay a dues to the retiree chapter. While they do have a partial vote, 27,000 or 25,000 partial votes for union president, it's quite evident that retirees don't really have much power within that union. At least they're not a full person according to the union, or they'd have a little bit more rights than they do today. So it's easy to explain to someone by showing them the contract, reading Article 1 of every union collective bargaining agreement, who that union has the power to speak. We also showed him Office of Collective Bargaining decisions from improper practices where OCB themselves refers to 12-303 of the Administrative Code that unions cannot collectively bargain for current retirees. They can only represent and collectively bargain for active workers who are future retirees. And we showed him that case from Local 621. There's several cases like that, but we didn't need to overwhelm him. The one that we read was perfect enough. So he's playing dumb, says Gerald. He knows the truth. Yes, he does. I mean, I keep joking that these guys are not, this is a no-brainer situation, but they're just making excuses. You're absolutely correct. Ellen says, and most unions don't have a retiree chapter which is allowed to have a vote on anything. And ironically, I pulled up the ALE, the Association of Legislative Employees contract, which just settled their very first contract, right? And councilmen are not in a union. So it is only their staff that is. We showed him who that union can actually represent, and there were 2 ALE members sitting in that room. So it really did go full circle. I would like to hope that Eric would get on this bill, but even as of the end of today, that didn't happen. But I do have one announcement. After we did the meeting with Eric Botcher's office, and then we went to his district to educate his constituents about what Eric wasn't doing. And we went to senior centers and we went around the neighborhood and passed out flyers and spoke to people. We also had a meeting with Shekhar Krishna's office and from Queens. He's from the Elmhurst area. Just so you do know, today we are announcing officially, thank you, Shekhar Krishnan, because his office advised us as of this evening, they are signing on to the legislation. So thank you, Shekhar Krishnan, for doing that. And thank you to Chanel and Greg from his office for giving us the opportunity to explain all of that to you. So what I'd like to do now is introduce Idafi Okporo to you. Everyone, welcome, Idafi.
Hi, Mariam, and hi, everybody online. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm really honored to have received support from you all, and I've been energized every time I come out and see the huge support from retirees out there. The last time it was raining, today it was very cold and freezing weather. So I am young enough to be there, but I am energized when I see them fighting for their rights.
Yep. It's exciting because you've been with us at a couple of our events, and you do always show up and march with us. So we do greatly appreciate that. And also that you did march with us in the rain. And for everyone that wasn't there today, Idafi was outside Eric Botcher's office with us today, standing outside 250 Broadway. So we were very thankful for that. We will show you some of those photos later today when I finally get a moment to break, because I've been running since 7 o'clock this morning when I did our WBAI radio show. So as I told retirees, you are supporting our request to, support retiree healthcare and If you were a council person, you would be supporting Intro 1099. I want to hear from you. Let them hear from you that you absolutely do agree with what our issue is and you're protecting us.
Yeah, I will give a little bit of insight into why this stuff is very important to me. I came to the United States as a refugee because in my home country, I was a healthcare advocate. I was advocating for the members of LGBTQ community to have access to healthcare treatment. And I was a victim of mob violence because of this. So when I came to America, I was detained by US immigration in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and a group of volunteers came to visit me from the Riverside Church. And one of them, her name is Lillian, she's a retired librarian. And in 2023, she wrote me telling me that her healthcare is going to be moved to Medicare Advantage. And she's older and cannot run for office. So my Democratic club on the Upper West Side, which have an average age of like 65 years old, reached out to our council person, Sean Abreu, and asked him if he's going to support this healthcare for retired city workers. And he said it's for certainty. What does that mean, for certainty? And I knew a day after the general election, November last year, I registered with a primary focus to fight for healthcare for retired city workers. As I continually investigate this issue as regard to healthcare, I saw that the resistance to protecting healthcare for retirees is because they don't have the backbone to stand up against the Democratic establishment in New York City. Many New Yorkers are dealing with affordability crisis, and that's why during the general election, you see people are turning away from the Democratic Party. I believe in democracy, and I believe that if democracy is no longer working for us, we need to stand up and fight for that right. That's why in my local Democratic club on the Upper West Side, I am proud to say that Three Pack Democrat is one of the only Democratic club that have endorsed Intro 1096 as one of the priority issues. And I am running against the party establishment to ensure that retirees' healthcare is protected.
That is amazing. You have an amazing story, and it's a story of hope, and that you were able to rebuild your life, and now seek to become a councilman. So that is really amazing.
You know,
the
promise of America is an opportunity for each and every citizen to be able to live with the dignity, human dignity. Healthcare is dignity. When I was thinking about the United States, I didn't know that people are going to be fighting for an opportunity to have access to healthcare services. Universal healthcare is a priority for many people across this country. But the funny thing about retirees' healthcare that even angers me the most is that they have you all have paid for this healthcare. It's not like you are asking for the government to give you something that you didn't work hard for. When it comes to like migrant issues and new citizens, people always make an argument that they have not contributed to America, that these people are foreigners. But retirees are American citizens, hardworking people, firefighters, teachers. They have worked for this, so they deserve it. So the party is choosing between the pockets of union leaders versus hardworking people who have worked their entire life in America. Medicare is a democratic issue. Healthcare is a democratic issue. So I said to myself, I'm not going to sit there for the next 4 years and allow government officials who are not ready to fight against the party establishment to continually have a room to tell people that they are for certainty. So I rather fight for the certainty of what I can have. We can't wait anymore for healthcare to be a human right. So this fight is a fight for all New Yorkers. It's not just a fight for healthcare. It's the fight for the dignity and sanctity of human life. If somebody is sick tomorrow, you're not going to tell them to wait for a court to approve a case. They need healthcare now. So we need this fight to be done once and for all. So I'm standing with retirees and I'm standing with all New Yorkers that healthcare should be a human right. It's not like you guys are asking for free healthcare. You guys
No.
are asking, give us the option to have the traditional Medicare we have worked for our entire life. So if my councilman is not going to support Intro 1096, I have said to him, get out of the way so that I can come in and support healthcare for retirees.
I love it, and that's what we're saying too. And now we have great company in getting that message out. Get out of the way if you're not going to help support us. This we said today, like, this is a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Earned this, right? We paid for this, and what this is telling me is maybe they don't have a brain that they don't understand.
No,
we're asking you to
they do have a brain, but their brain has been corrupted by city politics. You know, I have made a commitment not to take money from developers, from insurance, from brokers that are corrupt. I am a grassroots candidate and I believe in people power. The New York City Machine Fund program is an amazing program. Someone like me, who is an hardworking American, who cares about society, I didn't know I was going to run for political office. Calling people, raising money is not what I wanted. I want to make a difference in the lives of people. Luckily, we have a New York City Machine Fund program, which gives every donation I receive from a New Yorker an 8-to-1 match. You know, as of this evening, we have gotten contribution from 491 New Yorkers, people who make $15 an hour. They are still contributing $10 to our campaign because they are tired of institutional and establishment Democrats who do not care about the needs of New Yorkers. And we want to change that.
Yes, and you do have a little bit of support coming in. I just put up a John Manning comment. I just made a modest donation. If all of the thousands of us just donated 25 or 50 bucks to our city candidates for City Hall would listen to us. You're absolutely right. If you're noticing in the chat, we have a website that we created was to try to help people to Renee wants you to be Mayor Gaddafi. We have a website. Our website is retiredlaborstrong.nyc. And for the council members and the elected officials that are running for office that are not worried about us, we created a website, Retired Labor Strong, and we are making sure that your voice is heard. On the candidates, retiree-candidates page, we also, if we have a retiree that's running for office, we would support them just like we did in one of the last elections in an assembly race. Any person running for office that's supporting us goes on this page. So you can see the ticker down below. I'm also putting it in the chat every couple of minutes. Matching funds does end on the 12th.
Yeah, tomorrow is our deadline.
Is your deadline tomorrow?
By 11:59 p.m. So we need every contribution we can get between now and tomorrow evening. There's 2 questions I just want to address. Okay. And I've heard this over and over again. They say in New York City, we do have term limits for council folks. And why should you primary someone when they will be eligible for term limits in another 4 years from now? 4 years and the lives that are going to be affected in 4 years is a lot. Do you know how many people that are going to fall sick with all these viruses we have, requesting pre-approval from healthcare industry? We need to codify retirees healthcare, if possible, in 2025. I don't want to wait for my election for you to have healthcare. That's why I came out today, because I believe that Intro 1096 should be a democratic platform. You don't have to wait for me to win my election. I want my council person to support it. My candidacy is a retribution for their lack of ability to fight for the right issues. So just remember that why I am out here continually advocating. I'm also talking to my neighbors. Today, I came with 6 people in our district out there today, and they went back to their community. They are talking to people. We are canvassing on the streets. We're giving flyers about Intro 1096. Many people in our neighborhoods, in our communities, they don't even know the difference between traditional Medicare and Medicare Advantage. So Mariam and the retirees, I also want to thank you all, because what you are doing is creating an education that is changing the narrative about healthcare. But this is also a larger national issue. We have a Trump administration that is coming that want to privatize healthcare. If we that are in the most democratic city in America cannot codify traditional Medicare, imagine the devastation for other places. So we want to be a shining light, a representative of what America really stands for. That is like a beacon. So I think that retired city workers and future retirees, we all get older and people are living longer. People don't want to work their entire lives and in retirement coming out in the cold to still fight for what they have worked for. So that's why I am in this movement. I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to show up. I will continually show up until healthcare is protected for city retirees, until healthcare becomes a human rights issue for all New Yorkers.
Thank you for that. I also want to we're getting some good questions in the chat. People want to know what district you're from. So explain, where is District 7 in Manhattan?
Yeah, so District 7 is from 92nd Street up to 165th Street, Upper West Side to Washington Heights. And it covers Morningside Heights, West Harlem, Hamilton Heights, and a little part of Washington Heights.
That's fantastic. So here's a question from me, Marianne. If the city pays for active worker welfare benefits, glasses, dental, etc. First, let me correct that. The city gives the union money like $1,700 to like $2,500 a year for every employee and retirees welfare fund. The union doesn't just pay for your welfare funds. It's actually funded by city tax dollars. So that's the first correction. That's what every union gets for, and it varies from union to union, whatever they bargain for. What are dues paying for? So active workers pay a dues to their union. That goes to run that union. It goes for patronage jobs. It pays sometimes salaries or stipends for staff, for officers. That's what those things are for. And they also use the dues monies to run their union. It does not go towards active worker dues, does not fund anything for retirees. Your welfare fund benefits vision, prescription, dental, and that's if your union offers that. And if you are in a union, there are a lot of people here who are managerial who are not in a union, and that would be former mayors, former council members, managerials like your commissioners. Those people are not in a union. So those people would end up having to pay for those types of benefits, through the city. Now, your next part of the question is from an active DC-37 worker. That explains part of where your dues goes. And if you want to know where the rest of your dues goes, every union has to file a 990 and an LM2 with the New York's, at 990s, go to the IRS. So you can look through the IRS website for that under the charity, the section. Now, also, unions have to file an LM2 report, and that goes to the New York State Department of, that goes to the Department of Labor, I'm sorry. So you can go onto the Department of Labor website, search your union or your union officers, find all of their reports. They have to file those annually, and they're quite detailed. You could see where all of their money gets spent, how much they pay their lawyers, how much they pay for donations, how much they pay for lobbying, how much they pay for staff, if they have insurance, if they have rent. It shows all of what those dues goes for. So that's how you could find out what your union pays for. Retirees, unions don't pay for retiree health care, and the city funds welfare fund benefits. They literally negotiate for that. That was part of what our argument was with the stabilization fund, is that the unions were taking more money, not all, some of the unions, most of them, were taking a lot of money out of stabilization to pad their welfare fund benefits. What they should have been doing was negotiating for that, rather than taking it out of a fund that primarily financed their healthcare premium so that they didn't have to pay for it. So William Shenton says, thank you, Adafi. Gerald says, so you're tempting to primary Abreu.
Gerard, I'm not tempting, I'm primarying Abreu. I think that we need anti-establishment candidates. The problem with New York City politics right now is that most of the politicians become entrenched in the democratic politics. And that makes them afraid to challenge the party bosses. So Councilmember Christopher Mate, who is championing this bill, is a hero, because what he's doing as a current sitting council member is challenging the stereotypes of what it means to be in coalition with others. I am going to primary Sean Abreu, and I believe the People Power movement is going to unseat Sean Abreu. Even though the political establishment is going to coalesce around him, we have been talking to voters. We have been meeting people in community, and they tell us that what they need is a champion, someone that has the backbone to fight against the establishment. We don't care about seniority. We care about making a difference in our community, and that's what we are bringing to City Hall.
That's great. And I also want to point out to your website is Adafe, EDAFE, 2025.com, and it's in the chat as well. There's also links there. If you don't want to go directly to our campaign website to donate, you can go directly to Adafe's website and go right there.
I want to add something as regard to healthcare that is very important as well. You know, when we think about public safety in New York City, many people are experiencing mental health crisis, and the city wants to address these issues. We need to be able to have a functioning healthcare system for people not to be displaced from their homes, because when people don't have access to affordable healthcare, they tend to self-medicate, avoid to see a primary healthcare physician, or don't go through the right services they need. The problem we're having with the city is affordability. If you are on fixed income and you have an healthcare bill that exceeds your fixed income, that is pushing you to make a choice between paying for your rent or taking care of your healthcare. And as you get older, little things complicate your health. By trade, my first degree is in food science and technology. I do have a master's in nutrition. Now, I will tell you something. Nutrition is also important, and nutrition is a healthcare issue, because if you have to choose between buying a food and paying for healthcare, you are still priced out from accessing good, nutritious meal. Everything goes back to healthcare. A functioning society is a healthy society. So if Councilmember Sean Abreu is refusing to protect healthcare, is refusing to protect the health and well-being of members of District 7. So why should we continue to have him as a council person if he's refusing to do the most essential need of his constituents? That is the question I'm asking.
And hopefully you get those answers from the people that you're running against. Karen, you said when you subbed as a retiree, they took dues from your pay also. So they should not be taking both. You're either paying one or the other. They should have stopped one and not the other. I would ask for a refund on one of those back, because they should not have been doing that. Long Beach, New York says retirees already negotiated their benefits. Leave us alone. Anne Marie says, donation done.
I just want to say, Mariam, I want to thank all the retirees that are contributing to this campaign, because you all are making a difference, because you're also showing to the establishment that we have support for this issue, that is not just an issue that is of lip service, that it matters to the community. So I really appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart, because the goal of my candidacy is not to further place burden on all of you, but to alleviate that burden. And I hope that this will send a strong message to both other council people across the city, that when you mess with retirees, you are going to show up in numbers and let them know that this issue is important to you all. So I really, really appreciate this from the bottom of my heart.
Well, we appreciate you too,
Oh,
especially you coming out. Go ahead.
Diane Svesa, that just wrote that I care about this issue. She's a friend of mine. So she and I worked together in supporting refugees in another sector. So it's just like a small word. Two of us were in a car going to JFK the other day. We were going to pick up a refugee that was coming from Uganda. And we're talking about healthcare for retired city workers. She's a very good friend of mine. She can speak about my character.
That's fantastic. See, even though New York City is 8 million people, it's still a small community.
It is.
It definitely is. There was another question. Oh, Maya, you said, made my contribution. I thought something or someone was matching. The city is matching 8 times if you make your donation before tomorrow, before midnight, right, Adafi?
Yeah, 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. Yes.
Right.
Every donation made between now and 11:59 p.m. tomorrow is matched 8-1. So a $20 donation is $180. A $25 donation is $225.
So it really is amazing that they do have this kind of a matching program. So you can literally grassroots donate and finance your campaign. So this is why we wanted to do this, because you've been there for us. And we know that this is coming from your heart. When we had asked Jim Walden to also do that. And if you go to our website, you have Jim Walden's info also on there. We have Jim's info, we have Adafi's info, and even Christy Marmorato is running for re-election, and she does have a challenger as well. Adafi and she and Jim were all at that march on DC 37 when we did that Occupy DC 37 march in the pouring rain. These were the 3 people that were with us. They didn't tell us go fight your own battle. They didn't say wait for the court case to be done. They didn't say what you're doing is illegal. They knew we were on the right side of history, and they wanted to be on the right side with us. And Adafi and Christy and Jim marched with us in the rain from City Hall down to DC 37 and stayed with us for a while we occupied their lobby. So we can't thank you enough for being there with us. You're not an establishment candidate. You're not going to flip-flop on us. You're committed to this.
I am committed to this. You know, I think we have crossed 500 donors across the city, and that shows the need. You know, I was speaking to someone who came from the Upper West Side today to this event, and the one issue that they spoke about that really impacted me the most, they live on 121st Street, and they told me that their mom was affected by this issue, and now their mom have passed away, and they too are affected by this issue. So it's like it's becoming a generational weight that people are carrying. The day that we were in the rain, I was asking people that were there. Somebody was on wheelchair, 70-something years old, on wheelchair, like holding a sign saying that protect my healthcare. It's like, it feels like it's heartless from like New Yorkers who have an opportunity to protect people that are aging in this city. Many people have lived in New York and they cannot retire in New York City. So it's just shameful that we have a city system that politicians are so afraid to stand up for what is right. And if we continually fear and don't stand up against them, they will not take us seriously. So this fight is a very fierce battle. Mariam, I also want to thank you a lot because I see on Twitter, you never give up. The mayor, the council folks, the controller, you hold everybody to account, even public advocate. Every day you are commenting on weekends, on weeknight, all those retirees, both old and young, showing up in the rain and sunshine. This fight is not going to go down easily for them. And you guys are showing that we're not letting it go easily. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, and Gerald says, Mr. Adafi, you're too good to be an honest politician. But see, Gerald, he's not a politician. You know, he's running for political office, but he's not like an establishment candidate. That's why we love him and Jim, is that they're not what we're used to seeing is these ingrained politicians that are owned by an establishment. This is why this is a great change to see. So I'm answering that question for you because even Jim says that I'm not a politician. You know, politicians have that bad connotation to them. You're not owned. You truly want to do what's right for the people, because if the elected in the council truly were the same way, they would be on this bill from the beginning already, right? So
you know, I lost the right to live in my country for healthcare. This issue is personal to me. If some people feel like I'm an idiot going against the establishment in New York City, I went against the establishment in my entire country, standing up for what is right. I always believe that if it's right thing to do, we should do it no matter the opposition. So I have done it coming here to America, and I'm living in a country that protects free speech, the right to protest, the right for citizens to air their dissidents. Why wouldn't I be able to do it here if I was able to do it in a country that it wasn't possible? So I feel like this is something that I am meant to do, and I'm going to continually do it no matter the obstacle I face.
That's fantastic. I have a couple other questions here that either you or Matthew can help us answer. Is your address still the same for us who don't have a computer and still write checks?
Yeah, so Matthew is in the chat. Matthew Tyler is my campaign manager. He also worked as a teacher, so he understands how union works. And yes.
Oh, that's right. Matthew was UFT, right?
Yes, was UFT. Yeah, you can write a check to Edafe for City Council 2025, and Matthew can send an address where you can be able to send check to us. You can receive check. It will appear after the machine fund, but it still counts. You know, I brought on Matthew because Matthew cares about this issue a lot. The people I am working with on my campaign, they care about this issue. We think that healthcare is a dividing issue, and we can bring it up to voters, and we can make it a case, a number one case for our campaign. So I will allow Matthew to share the information if it's available there. But on our website, we don't have the address for email. I think you can write Matthew and he can share that information with you all. We really, really appreciate all the support, all the comments we have been receiving. We did an endorsement vote at a local Democratic club on the Upper West Side, and it was me and Mr. Abreu on Wednesday, and he ran away. He didn't want to address the question of healthcare for retirees. We're still going to have another opportunity to have a debate again and again and again. And every time it's me versus him, is facing his biggest fear, which is his refusal to have a backbone to stand up against union and party establishment. I am his biggest worry because right now he cannot run away from this issue. He always have to face it. if this is one of the fights we are able to establish and show other council people that this issue is not something they can run away from, it's something that even gives me pleasure right now thinking about, that is going to face retribution.
Yep. I like making people uncomfortable because they take for granted their positions and they don't think that they have to, respond to the people, and they're wrong.
Yeah.
So absolutely, it's very frustrating. You've got a lot of support here. Renee, you said that you were having trouble donating. I'm going to suggest maybe you try a different method of payment. And then if you're still having trouble, go to his website, and Matthew or someone will help you make that donation. So you can go right to his website, adafi2025.com, and they will help you from there. You can also try going through the website that we posted on our retiredlaborstrong.nyc page, and that will bring you directly to the campaign finance website to make the donation directly there. That's where our site takes you, rather than going through Adafi's website and clicking through to get to the campaign website. But try a different form of payment, a different credit card. Sometimes when you use it like a debit card, that sometimes your card actually stops that from going through as a safety. Laura says, City Hall needs to be replaced with people who have a heart. Adafi, you must win. I donated and I will keep doing so.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate. And I think too that you all retirees have a large heart too. You guys have welcomed me. You guys have made me feel at home. Mariam, right from the beginning, you sniffed me out because you said, I have spoken to a lot of candidates. I would know if you are the right deal. So you guys have created a sense of home for me. When I left Nigeria and came to America, I never knew I would go into politics one day. I have done work to support people. I created the first shelter for asylum seekers in New York City. My life has always been focused on trying to help people live a better life. And this work I am doing in electoral politics is not the end. Whether we win or not, we are going to continually make a difference. But I believe with all your support so far, we are going to show to New York that Retiree Strong is really strong.
Absolutely are. Absolutely. And Matthew just dropped into the chat where you can mail a check to. It says Adafi Akporo for City Council, 3333 Broadway, D5A, New York, New York, 10031. And I'll say that again slowly. Adafi Akporo for City Council, 3333 Broadway, D as in David, D5A, New York, New York, 10031. And we'll make sure that that's in the chat. When we do our updated newsletter, we'll also make sure that that goes in there as well. But as Adafi and Matthew had both said, tomorrow is the deadline for matching funds. If you live in the 5 boroughs, the city will match any donation you make 8 times. If you don't live in the 5 boroughs, it would just be whatever you donate. Now, while matching funds ends tomorrow, you can still donate afterwards. It just wouldn't be matched. So clearly your campaigns are going to need money. So if this is a candidate, if Adafi is someone you want to keep supporting, then just know that your money would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. And I want to say something too. This is something, aside from donation, talk to your friends that live in this council district, because when people start having this conversation, sometimes some older people do not understand, older adults in New York do not understand the difference between Medicare and Medicare Advantage. We need a lot of education so that all the older adults that are not affected right now can also continually support you, because we have seen articles that we have posted online in the news where we talk about the issue And other older adults that are not currently part of the retiree groups are like, oh, wow, so people are experiencing this issue. We want to make it a city-wide issue. Add pressure, pressure, pressure. Pressure makes diamonds. So this election season, intro 1096, talk to all your friends, just like the way we talk about the general election in November. Let's talk about intro 1096 in every conversation. People you meet on the subway, print out a flyer, because that's how we will make a difference. When more people get involved in this issue, it will actually make a difference. I believe we will actually make a difference. More council people are going to sign up next week because they will see the pressure that is coming, and that will make a difference. I really appreciate all the support.
You're welcome. Let's see. Deeply impressed by Adafi's prior community service and his fighting spirit. That's great. And Matthew, he posted his email in case you guys are having some trouble making donations. Contact matthew.tyler@adafi2025.com. That's also in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, Matthew is incredible.
When can we get rid of Mulgrew? He's done enough damage. Myron, that's the next issue.
I saw some folks from UFT today were there. I think that the pressure, if UFT is backing down, other unions are seeing the biggest union is backing down. So we continually make more pressure. I have been speaking to people that are part of PTA, Student Association, current teachers. We have to speak to everybody. We have to speak to everybody. This issue have to resonate, and how we canvas to people matters. We're making it a care issue. We're building a caring economy. We're building a society that will work for everyone. If you are not an older adult today, tomorrow you become an older adult. Your healthcare is not affected today. If healthcare is privatized nationally, that will affect a lot of people. I will tell you a personal care story from my own experience. When I went for an endorsement vote on Wednesday at 3 Park, the Democratic Club on the Upper West Side, someone pulled me to the side and said that 40% of New Yorkers are on Medicaid. And for you to do the Medicaid application, it will cost you a lawyer, sometimes $8,000 to hire a lawyer. Do you know, if many people in the state of New York are facing healthcare issue, that means we can draw parallels between Medicaid and Medicaid and make it healthcare as a city statewide issue. This is how we win, because I saw on a statement somewhere that I thought the Democratic Party was the party that provided safety nets for individuals. Why is New York City trying to pull out the safety nets from older adults? People who are retired, why should you have to fight in your retirement? Retirement is meant for you to enjoy. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of New York. We have to make a change.
And I don't understand why that is. We have found it very, very frustrating ourselves. So we definitely do appreciate you listening. Ellen says she loves Pressure Makes Diamonds. Thank you, Adafi. Donated to all. Thank you for your support. Success donation. Yay, Renee. I bet you it was like you were trying to use a debit card or something. That happens to me all the time. I'm very glad that went through. I do definitely appreciate that. And Adafi, I'm going to say we're wrapping up to our 1 hour mark. And I definitely want to go to sleep. It's been a long day.
We did have a long day. We are seeing the donations coming through. I think I'm not looking at the donations, but I know that Matthew's taking care of stuff, and we really appreciate. We know that most of these donations that have come through is going to be matched. If we raise $3,000 or $4,000 today times 8, I'm just going to make a rough calculation so that when you go home, you are going to feel a sense of like worthiness. If we raise $4,000 times 8, that would be $32,000 to the campaign. So every donation we can receive, if you watch this after the live stream, still make a donation.
Yeah.
Tell other people to make a donation. I made a commitment also not to take money from real estate developers. So each grassroots donation really makes a difference for our campaign. $10, $5, $20 makes a difference. Thank you, Mariam. Thank you, all of you.
My dear.
I really appreciate the support.
Well, you're welcome. Have a great night. Thank you for coming and speaking with us today. We know how important it is for people to get to meet their candidates and understand where their position is on this. They ask me all the time, where do they stand on our issue? I want to know how they, where they stand on retirees. And thank you. And you've been with us. So those that come out and see you at our events know you. But this here, like I said, we are literally live streaming this in 3 different places tonight. It's going into Twitter, it's going into Facebook, and it's going into YouTube. So we get thousands and thousands of hits off of our social media, and then people share and reshare it. And then we also send out a newsletter and put that out. You get our newsletter, so
Yeah,
you know.
I do.
And so you see what we're saying. So thank you for paying attention and supporting what we're doing. And thank everyone for coming in to listen. We truly do appreciate that. Also, please don't forget to do your homework, guys. We're still doing that Action Network. I'm going to update it again over the weekend. Today, we have 217,208 emails that went out to the city council members. So you guys are doing phenomenal on that. Keep the faith. We're not done. And as I also said earlier, we do have that additional council member that signed on today. That was Shekhar Krishnan, Councilman Shekhar Krishnan, signed on this evening after our meeting with his office. So I want to thank you all for everything that you do. I want to thank you guys for coming out and braving the cold with us. For everyone that came through the subway, we went through the subway today as a group. We went down to Eric Botcher's district. We went into their senior centers. We walked around Penn South. We educated the people in the community, and then we called it a day. I appreciate all of you for coming out to do this, and I definitely want you to know how much it's appreciated. So we're going to keep making our efforts, and we're strategically planning on how to move forward with the rest of the city council, and I can't thank you enough for this. Eventually, the council members are going to have to get on this bill to understand who they're actually protecting is not just us, but them. If they're going to stay in city service, this is their future if they are retired. And as we keep saying to them, this preserves a floor that's been in place for 60 years. This isn't us asking for anything we haven't earned and already paid for. The unions are welcome to collectively bargain above it, but this has been the floor for 60 years and it should be preserved. They cannot ever diminish our benefits. They should only build upon it, and that's what they should be doing if they're good unionists. So remember, folks, we're going to keep educating them. We're going to keep debunking whatever bullshit comes our way, and we're not going to stop until this is passed. We're doing this on the city level. We're doing this on the state level. And we're also finalizing our litigation, which goes back to court in May. So we do not want legislators to wait for us to solve our own problem when we've won 11 times in court already. Now is the time for them to get back on. They're just making another excuse after excuse. Hold them accountable. So your power is power, and they will listen to you. Look, they listened to us today. Two meetings, one yes, one he couldn't commit. But eventually, I'm hoping with the pressure of his own community, he will commit as well. William, you're asking about Christy Marmorato. Go through our website. There should be a link for her there. When I disconnect from here, I'll double check it. And if not, I will put it on there as well. If you want to do it sooner before I get that updated, if it's not accurate for some reason, go to the New York City Campaign Finance website. You can donate. You can search for the candidate you want to donate to and donate it right there. But give me a few minutes. I will go check that first before I call it a night. There's no updates on the copay case and the city, so there's nothing there to update you on. And thank you for reminding me that preserving the LBJ promise for public health insurance. Next week on WBAI at 7 a.m. on Friday, I will bring to you a speech from LBJ himself from 1966. We're going to start a series of education about Medicare and who actually passed it. And we will start with that speech from August 19th of 1966 in Ellenville, New York, at a dedication of a hospital that was accepting Medicare. So have a great night, everybody. I can't thank you guys enough. Gerald, you're saying 9. Who's the others? I got to stop a second. Hold on, everyone. Gerald is telling me there's 9 council members on our bill. Now I need to refresh. I'm not seeing 9, my dear. I'm seeing 7. Nope, I'm seeing 8. Shekhar Krishnan did sign on, but I'm not seeing 9. So all I can tell you is we are up to 8, not 9. We are up to 8 council members. I see Shekhar Krishnan's name on here right now. And so everyone can write a thank you to Shekhar Krishnan if you go to his council website, and I will post that link on our page as well. You guys can send a thank you. So thank you very, very, very much for everything you guys are doing, for supporting us and believing us. Yes, I saw that, Gerald. Don't worry. So yes, we're up to 8 people on the bill. Have faith. Clearly, we're getting through, and it's taken us time. But believe in what you're doing. I know it's exasperating, and we're going to keep on moving forward. Pop Charlie says she ordered my shirt. I love this shirt. Literally, we were looking on my shirt today to see what stop our next subway stop was. I love you guys. I can't thank you enough for being with us. You've made the last almost 4 years of my life very exciting. If you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on Twitter, this is the place to be. You should get on board with the New York City retirees. This is history, that retirees are activating or their sleeping giant of retirees around the country, New York City retirees, and that we are the force to be reckoned with. If you're going to come after us, we're going to make sure that the law is upheld and that our benefits are protected, and we don't care who's coming after them. We're making sure we're coming after you. So everyone, thank you for listening to Adafi Akporo. The links are in our retiredlaborstrong.nyc website. You can see the candidates we are so far supporting. The candidate from, the name of the candidate from Elmhurst, Larry, the Elmhurst council member was Shekhar Krishnan, who signed on to our bill. Adafi Akporo is from Manhattan. Christy Marmorato is from the Bronx. And Jim Walden is running for mayor. Those so far are the candidates we have endorsed. And we have more endorsements coming in the very near future. So stay tuned. All right, guys, I'm calling it a night. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning. I'm tired. I love you all. Have a great weekend. Have a wonderful. Ciao.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. Tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life, you know you can't pretend. The days pass by, they've set in stone. But it's not too late now for you to change your tone.